Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Good morning. All right, it is the first, which tends to be a buy day. Here we can see we had that crazy action on yesterday. What was it? Wednesday. And that was the close of the options pit for the end of the month. So pretty crazy move there. And then it looks like in the overnight session, the Europeans retraced that and maybe has pivoted, maybe moving back up to the VWAP. Meanwhile, the Bitcoins are down. Well, that's unfortunate, isn't it? This right here, that was your tell. It was kind of like what we said, wasn't it? They were going to push it down again. Well, now that it is February, we can move some more money into Coinbase. So maybe we're lucky and we get to in below 10. Okay. Let's grab the links. Let's grab this one. Pretty good on the delay here. Yeah. Oh, end of month fund rebalancing. Let's see what Fran's got here. Temporary increases in the cost of debt and equity capital that coincide with key dates associated with end-of-month cash needs. Then direct and indirect evidence on the role of institutions in the genesis of these patterns and derive estimates of the associated costs borne by market participants. Finally, we investigate the limits to arbitrage that prevent markets from functioning efficiently. Okay, so they're saying that debt and equity capital gets increased at the end of the month, so they sell at the end of the month, and they tend to buy at the beginning of the month. That's what it means. Yeah. Pretty cool. Okay. What we got here? Oh yeah. Got a bunch of notifications. Oh man, yeah, Sia coin has been a real headache lately. Jess Gill talking about Sia coin. Anyways. Oops. Goes to the wrong tab. That's okay. All right, it looks like people are still filtering in. We got people in YouTube, we got people on Twitch. We got news in 12 minutes. Oh yes, also the memo. We got the memo today. Look at the E-mini. E-mini is unhappy. Well, we'll see what happens. Is there anything else? Or this is probably not going to tell us anything too interesting today. Nope. We only get a Bitcoin number every other day, unfortunately. But all of the other ones, it updates the chart, but it didn't update the number. That's interesting. Yeah, let's see if we got any news here. Right. Start stuffing my face with food. Check that too. Well, nope, I don't really see any reason for us to be going down at the moment. I'm tired of waking up seeing red, then start trading with Ethereum instead of Bitcoin. Yeah, okay. I don't know, guys. A little suspicious. They wake up, the Asians do, and they just sell it. Ethereum is going up. Whoa! Holy snakies! Ethereum's going up crazy compared to Bitcoin. What's with that? I mean, I expected them to be going up, but not that much. What is it doing in terms of dollars, though? Just kind of skidding along. What about Bitcoin Cash? It's down significantly, right? We're at 1,500, yeah. This one tends to follow Bitcoin more, and it just swings further. I don't know. We're gonna be below the 50, you know. Maybe for a couple of weeks. I don't know. Till the end of February, maybe. What do you think?
Block buy.
Hey Seth, Bitcoin drop as expected. Yep. I mean, I was hoping that it wasn't going to happen, but I did say yesterday, look, guys, the probability of it going down are getting worse and worse. This right here, though, man. Okay, next time we see this, we're doing something. Yeah. We can get. I don't know how we can do this. Maybe we can get some money on BitMEX and short it. I don't know. But geez, I mean that's now the second time it's happened, and it's been good moves too. Of course, you'd have to hold it for a long time, but come on, that's crazy. Okay, well we got about 7 minutes, so I'm gonna try and eat some food before we get there, so that we can focus once the news comes out.
Randstad announced layoffs, level 32,423, 44,653. Highlights. Retail payrolls turned lower all last year and are starting off 2018 on another down note, rising more than 15,000 to inflate. Randstad Challenger job cut revised, more layoffs. Randstad no scalps this morning, range too narrow and low volume.
Tether is
Randstad may be the infamous memo day 2, not sure it will affect markets though.
Okay, so here's something interesting. Here's a CNBC article. Where are you guys? Let me put you up here first before I start yapping. Okay. So here's a CNBC article, and it's got Brian Kelly, who's kind of been the Bitcoin guy over there, and he says, the intrinsic value, the way I measure it is transactions, and I do kind of a simple regression with number of transactions and velocity, and you get an intrinsic value somewhere in the 8,000s, said Kelly. Okay, so he's doing what I do, pretty similar. Maybe he is using some slightly different metrics and ways of calculating it that make it slightly more sensitive. He says 8,000. My indicator says that if you get down to 8,000, that's like the most oversold we've ever been. So, seems about right. Seems about right. But I don't think that we can get there. Well, let's see how the futures act today. Yeah. If Bitcoin makes a recovery here and pushes back to 10,000, then I think we can say that there truly is just enough activity in Bitcoin to keep the price above this level. If we do what we've been doing, where we kind of recover and then just hover, then maybe not. And the problem is this could continue for a while.
Of course, but I wouldn't be surprised by a pullback to 180 ZN.
Yeah. I agree with Alligator. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Okay, so here comes the news. Bum, bum, bum. Okay. Okay, non-farm productivity, negative 0.1 versus 0.7 expected. That's not good. Claims 230 versus an expected 235. Okay, so that's slightly better than expected. Were there any other numbers? Sorry, it wasn't negative. It was 0.2 versus, oh, it was 2 versus 0.9 was labor costs, and productivity was negative 0.1 versus 0.8. So the cost of labor is going up. That's great. That means bonds down.
Fran said new claims, level 233K, 231K, 235K, 234K to 240K, 230K. 4-week moving average, level 204.
Okay. I don't think you guys can even understand it when when it reads it out like that, so I'm gonna stop that. I don't know, a little bit of games at 13.5, you see them robots stacking and pulling 13 halves. I think this is a good location though. Look at the 5-year is right on the edge of the profile. Oh, good morning again, Social Observer. So, I had a question for you guys, or a thought for you guys. So say we did decide that we saw that move in the futures, we thought it had significant edge, and we wanted to short Bitcoin. Does the risk reward really make sense? You know, because we could have had, like a 30% move to the upside. I think that my problem is still that in order for me to really take that trade, I think we need like options. Yeah. Like if I could buy puts and I could make several times my money through the puts, then I think it would be a different story. Ooh, that was pretty strong. Tick up. And good stacking after it cleared.
Block buy.
Okay. It's gonna be like that today, huh? How big was that block buy? 5,000. Jeez. I don't know. So their ZF is at 212. Nope. I think I'm just gonna take the one tick. Yeah, seeing a 10K like that this early in that spot, I've never seen anything even remotely close to that. That's just insane. Yep, it just can't hold it. So what did he say? Girlfriend got out +2. Yeah. Okay, so alligator got along 14.5. Oh, we should unmute them. There we go. Okay, social observer. I want to do CME futures trading, but I don't live in the States. I live in Saudi Arabia. Do you know legit brokers where I can register online and do wire transfer to be able to trade futures? I heard interactive brokers, but I don't know whether they are legit or not. Okay, so interactive brokers is you can definitely trade with them, but they're kind of considered like the worst for futures, primarily because they have different type of data. It's not the same thing. I mean, you can still use it for sure if that's your only option, but I would suggest looking for other people. In Saudi Arabia, I don't really know, because it's always like specific to the country. Like the people
Alligator
I use
said looks like only a pullback.
I was hoping to get to get another tick pullback there, and it went. Okay. Hold on a second. Yeah, I'm just going to take this one. So I use AMP futures, but I don't think you can use them unless you're in the States. For Saudi Arabia, I would probably be looking more towards European futures, and I don't really know who those are. I do know that we have some Europeans though, so my recommendation would be to go into the Discord general channel and ask that question there. You could also search. Okay, I guess I probably would have gotten the price that I wanted, because I wanted more like 140. I actually wanted 13.5. Anyways, futures.io has this huge forum with, reviews of basically every futures broker out there. So, we could do a quick search here. I mean, I know that they would have to have futures brokers out there, because there's going to be all sorts of people doing oil out in Saudi Arabia. So they're certainly going to exist. I just don't know who they're going to be.
Fran said long 15 scalp. Jack said all purchases and sales are final, no refunds. Face with tongue sticking out.
No refunds. Sure, there are refunds. There's just a restocking fee.
Jack said, ha, true.
Oh, that's cool. So available countries for interactive brokers includes Saudi Arabia. So they're definitely an option. Is your main critique of interactive brokers their data? Couldn't you just get another data provider? Well, so I've never used them before, and I haven't researched it a ton. Other than that, I do know that they don't offer the bid ask data quite the same way. And you could potentially just get another data provider, although generally speaking, if there's another data provider that's available to you, they're probably just going to be providing futures trading anyways, so you might as well just use that other person. There are some other things that I've heard about interactive brokers, but I just can't remember off the top of my head. But I would go to the Futures IO thread that they have for that broker, and you can probably learn a lot just from reading that.
Brand said out +2.
They're just not geared towards futures quite the same way that most other futures broker is. I think is the main thing. You know, the broker that I see the most praise of is Stage 5. You know, AMP Futures, the one that I use. I don't necessarily think they're great, but they're the cheapest. So that's the nice thing about them.
Brand said ES may test ELO.
I don't know what the restrictions is. I know that, for instance, the Canadian guys, our Canadian friends, they often have trouble because they don't have access to the same stuff that we do in the United States. Like, I think that they go through Onada is the one for them. Isn't that what it is? And then on the split side, in America, we have like almost no Forex brokers anymore because the biggest one got canned. And I think that everybody that was trading Forex before moved over into cryptocurrencies.
Alligator said, Imo, it's only another pullback. 150 should hold. 180 target. Brand said yes, back ticking. Alligator said why?
Ding, ding. Yeah, you could always just start a new thread there too. Hey, what are futures brokers available in Saudi Arabia? Because I just did a quick Google search and didn't really get the best results. But of course, probably that's a search you'd have to do in Arabic, right?
Alligator said 165 pretty solid iceberg. Trade the Traders said best broker is Wedbush, RJ O'Brien. Good broker advantage futures for retailer over 50K. Under, deep discount trading.
Oh, I've never heard of Wedbush, but RJ O'Brien is definitely one of the bigger ones that I'd looked at. They have some good tools on their website, if I recall correctly. Yeah, but the question is still just like, what's available in that country, though? Because I think almost all of those ones that we're mentioning, they're primarily for the United States. Who who do you guys use in Europe? And you're gonna have different products available to you too, right?
Trade the Traders said wedbushfutures.com.
Yeah, let's look at Wedbush. I haven't been to that website. Bitcoin futures trading. Ooh, they're based in Los Angeles. Well, not based there, but they have a location in Los Angeles. Another thing is, now that we're up, there's probably all manner of single prints above us. Maybe? Actually, so where are the single prints in ZB? Okay, so 18 was a single print and it rejected, and then the next one after
Brad
that is
said
20.
how about Trade of it?
Trade of 8, yeah. Yep, here's John. Okay, bonds did a good job retesting that low volume node around 147.02 in the last 3 sessions. If they break through that level, I'll be looking for 146.22. I don't like that come back on me. We can take a tick, get back in lower, is my hope. Nope. Come on. Anyways, if we break that, I would look to test 146.22. My bias is for higher prices, but I can't ignore the 5-week downtrend. Okay, the bull bear zone is 147.14 to 18. So we're right in the middle of it. If that area holds, we could see prices pull back to test high value node at the 147.25. HVN. Okay. Well, this is not the best setup here because the ZB is right there where I want it to bounce. Okay, so we took a tick. Let's see if we can get 15 again. All Ripple videos on YouTube from this past week are so hilarious. One even says Ripple will replace Bitcoin. Oh man. Anthony Monorat, good morning. Soon we are going to hit the 4K. The 4K in Bitcoin? Oh, I hope not. I think there's a good chance that Ethereum is going to replace Bitcoin someday. Yes, I do. But not this run. So where do you get 4K from? Because my valuation indicator would say that the chances of us going below 8K are extremely low. I believe that NEO will take over Bitcoin. I've been looking at NEO. I might, in my next set of investments, I might take that. NEO. Didn't NEO was the one that they did like a test and they pushed through like 400,000 transactions in a second or something like that, right? There was one of those currencies and they had smart contracts and I read that and I was like, dang, that's good. Of course, Ethereum has their own scaling, but I need to do more research on what are the pluses and minuses between the various smart contract coins. I find it interesting when gas has big moves up and down like they did, what, the day yesterday, day before yesterday? Oh, 3 gas equals 1 euro? Ooh. Ooh, really? Yeah, I don't want to buy 16 just because there was the iceberg at 16.5 and it's right on the edge of the profile. I probably shouldn't. I mean, when I had the offer at 15.5, I was like, I should double click it, and I wasn't fast enough. And then I thought, well, it's okay because I'm gonna be able to get back in easy. Right? Mistake. ADA is another currency. We need to make a list. I need to make a list because there's a couple of them. I'm still interested in KU coin. Tell sounds promising, although I'm just not sure if it's like the top of the list. And you know, a couple of other ones. So we'll get all of these and we'll make a piece of paper, and then I'll have the bird decide which one we should invest in. Yeah. I think we have time too. I was sitting here going, well, it seems like maybe Bitcoin will take off before I'm able to make my February investments. But after this morning's action, I'm feeling a little bit more hopeful. Should have just clicked in somewhere. Oof. That bid is a little bit too aggressive considering that the ZF is not in place. I think I've come back. I changed my regimen yesterday and got rid of the LDN. And my understanding is that it's going to change your reaction to pain. So I think maybe now that I haven't taken it, that I'm overreacting to pain. Because I took those, you know, I had one tick in my favor, and I just took the one tick. And in both instances, I should have just kept it. Social observer exited the market perfect time 4 days ago before the dip. Yeah, I've been having a hard time just because my indicator definitely says buy, and I still feel very confident about it, but it's early. The thing tells you what's going to happen before long, you know, weeks before it's going to happen. So it's really good at telling you, okay, it's almost over or it's almost about to start, but it's not very good at telling you the exact spot. So I think we need to do a little bit of a refinement there. All that 3K is still sitting there pretty strong. Well, the one of the things I've noticed is that when somebody mentions a level on television, a lot of people really start to pay attention to that level or look for that level. So now that Brian Kelly has said 8,000, I think there's a pretty good chance that some whales are going to try and go take it. Yeah. But it's going to be hard. I still think, like even if you bought right now, because I essentially bought like 10-1, I think, but like a week or two ago. And, from my perspective, I'm risking 20% for it to go down to 8, and your potential profit is much, much higher. And the risk of it taking off without you is significant too. So I wouldn't necessarily try to bottom fish, just scale in. I'd get me some Tether so I can buy fast around 8K, but I'm getting really scared of Tether. Yeah, well, for me, I can just buy with dollars on Coinbase, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send my money over to Coinbase today, and hopefully by the time it confirms, we'll be in a good place. Too many people like myself got in because Bitcoin was going up and media woke us up. Now second wave mine will panic and sell. Newbies aren't used to going through those losses. Yeah, but I feel like the people that bought up at 13,000 have already, puked. They've either gone, ah, crap, and sold, or they don't even know how, and they're just in it, So you notice the thing that I keep seeing happen, like this right here. Okay, see in the wow, 7,000. This drop right here. So it feels to me like we get the drop and people start going long, and they're accumulating it just so they can dump it. That's kind of what it looks like to me. Well, it says I got filled. Oh, it won't let me buy. It won't let me put a stop there because there was already a buy there. Well, this isn't going to get filled. And this one. So let's do that right now, by the way, on Coinbase. Okay. So that's done. It's coming. It says that they might be available by the 8th. Ugh, yeah. Oh, that sucks, but that's what happens. Monstar, I have not slept and am glad I didn't. So you've been watching it go down all night? $13K, agree, but next wave, Seth, next wave will panic too. Too many newbies like myself. There is a bomb and the clock is ticking louder and louder. So I'm not too sure about the tether thing. I just need more information before we can really make a determination. No, we'll hold it. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily even just news stories. I think part of it is just the time of year, right? So this could continue well into February. Well, I mean, like Valentine's Day. After Valentine's Day, then maybe we'll see where we're at. Yeah. The thing that I'm finding really interesting, because I'm still mining Garlic coin, and I got a second video card yesterday, and the amount I'm making from mining Garlic coin has offset all of my losses. But I think you're right. I forget who it was that was saying it, but you know, like that the newbies will panic. I think you're right. I think your prediction is a little early. I think that what needs to happen is there needs to be a move up. And that's when a bunch of new people will get in and say, oh, okay, I missed the first big Bitcoin move, but I'm not going to miss this one. And they're going to get in, and then it's not going to make a new high, and it's going to start going down, and then they will panic. Well, I think what's happening with Tether is when they get people deposit money to them, they print it, and when they get people withdraw money, they take some out. And I think that some really big fish got out last week, and that's why they burned some Tether for the first time. And there's probably some fungibility there because the exchange makes a lot of money, right? Like these exchanges are making millions of dollars a month. Yeah, anyone not familiar with the volatility of Bitcoin will panic. Well, and there's still this kind of thing like, you know, if transactions start declining, then it's a whole different ballgame, right? If transactions start to significantly decline, then we can end up in a spiral that can go on for a very, very long time. I need to go and look at I have the ability to chart just the transaction value, but so I need to go back and do that. I think Tether will not have that effect on Bitcoin. Worst case scenario, Tether value will go to zero and Bitcoin will move on. Well, it depends, kind of, right? So if Tether just goes under, it's true that maybe you just see Tether goes down by itself. But the claim is not that Tether is just going to go under.
Alligator said another pullback from 180. Short end looks balanced, so no idea if we can break.
Yeah. The claim is that Tether is completely fraudulent and not backed at all. Right? So if that is true, then that means that all of these prints that have pushed Bitcoin price up higher were all a bunch of nonsense, right? And that's a lot of buy side demand coming through Tether. So if Tether is truly fraudulent, then price is going to have to come down simply because of the fact that demand will disappear. And so it would affect Bitcoin price, and it could affect Bitcoin price significantly just because it's everybody says, well, the Tether market cap's not back that big. This is true, but it doesn't matter. What matters is the supply and demand. And if that happens and demand decreases, price is going to keep going down until it balances. Claim is Tether sells you Tether for dollars, and then they use your dollars to buy Bitcoin on Bitfinex. So they have to sell Bitcoin to cover their holdings when price goes down. Do you think that they're buying it with dollars too, huh? Because the things that I have seen was just that, they're just printing Tether and buying the Bitcoin with their own Tether and basically stealing the coins for free. That's the thing that I've heard the most. The purge started. Well, if and that's the key thing, is my indicator says that where we're at right now, we should be able to hold price above 8,000 just because of just through use of the ecosystem. But if we have a black swan event, the model's useless, right? All of the models are useless. So yeah, no, the team Bitfinex and Tether are I don't think that they're exactly the same people, but they have a relationship that's pretty much they're the same entity. Yeah. But you never know. I mean, the thing is the only reason, well, not the only reason. People have been talking about the Tether thing for a very, very long time. And it wasn't until they said that they had been subpoenaed that anybody cared, right? Here's the thing. The subpoena could just be, we're doing a criminal investigation and we need some information on one of your users. It could totally just be that. And if that's true, then the whole thing is just a bunch of hogwash, right? So we don't have enough information yet to really say what's going to happen. Just that we know there's a risk out there. And I don't think that the risk has gotten higher. I think the risk that Tether is fraudulent or that they're doing something not cool. Yeah, the subpoena was 2 months ago, right? So the risk that they're doing something not cool, I think, is actually decreased in my mind because they haven't run for the hills yet. They've gotten a subpoena and they haven't run for the hills, and they've continued to print Tether, which I think is a good indication that I mean, there's only two possibilities after that. One, they are acting in good faith, or two, they're just really, really fucking stupid and think they can get away with it. I'm really surprised that anybody smart enough to set up that company and that scheme would be dumb enough to think they get away with it, but it is a possibility we have to consider, right? So the risk, in my opinion, has actually decreased, but awareness of the risk has increased significantly. So, of course, prices come down because of that. Yeah, Tether could all be legit, but the FUD is even affecting me. I normally don't get emotional over trading, but this is somehow different. And I don't think I'm in the same boat because I only put $100 in, right? The rest of it was like free from mining. And even through the drop, I'm still higher than I was like a week ago. So I'm just kind of like, well, I wish that I had maybe waited, but... So still some solid market buying. Yeah. Nice Hash starts their repay program tomorrow. Is that to repay for the losses from the theft? Too many hacks every 2 weeks, scams and investigations that scares many people, even if they were tempted. Too many people mind it is not clear. Volatility in Far West. Well, I think, you know, I think that has to happen. I think that there are big fish out there that don't really care about the fundamentals and just want everybody to sell right now because they make money from doing it, you know? Because every move that happens in Bitcoin, there's only, if there's one thing that's consistent, it's that it's always overdone. They oversell it, they overbuy it. A purge needed, yeah. And that's the thing about it, is that the way that it's set up, if you're trying to short term, well, not short term, but if you're trying to like midterm time it, you're gonna miss it, you know? Yeah, well, I made money because I was lucky. So I just happened to pick like the one cryptocurrency that made it really, really big during the fall. And then I was smart enough to sell it before it came down like everything else. Which I don't think is that smart. I don't understand why people don't sell when you get a pop. Just, it's a prudent thing to do, but whatever. Bitcoin is the story of the century. My grandma knows nothing about tech and she has heard of Bitcoin. Wow, well. Yep, it's been in this range for a while, but it still looks bullish. Yeah. I mean, the thing is that I just don't think that, okay, like let's say the worst case scenario, okay? So Anthony's 4K, that's the worst case scenario that I've heard, at least. If there was like a black swan event and everything just fell apart and the models didn't matter anymore and nothing mattered anymore, there's really no floor, but we'll just say for the sake of argument 4,000. Right. So if it bottoms out at 4,000 and then makes a strong bull run, do you think that the media is going to forget about it and that people are going to forget about it? Because that's the thing for me that makes me think that we are in the dead cat bounce. Is the public interest is still there, and something needs to happen to dash the public interest. They need to have a really good run, like they need to buy and it goes back up to 13,000, and then when everybody buys in at 13,000 it dies on them. That will kill the public interest, right? What we have right now, there's just alternative explanations for. There's always weakness this time of year. Until mid-February, apparently, after the Chinese New Year. So that alone could explain why we are where we are. If it goes to 4 with it, we'll earn bad reputation. Yeah, I suppose
Alligator said, well, I thought after first pullback there it should be enough, but now I don't know. ZF would help us, it could tick up 227.
Yeah. That 5-year doesn't look too promising at the moment, does it? And what did I said that the single prints were 18 to 20. I don't know, do we have any good targets beyond that? I mean, the next target would have to be 147.28. There is some size sitting there. Well, okay, we ticked up in ZN. I don't know. If it goes to 4, it will earn a bad reputation. It already has a bad reputation. Yeah. Well, I remember after Mt. Gox, you know, when it was the best time to buy, nobody wanted to deal with it. The only people that really messed with it were people that were like, I don't really care how much money it's worth. I'm interested in the technology. Yeah. The people that were buying ASICs back when they were just a couple $100. Okay, what's going on here? Why are we all of a sudden blinking all over the place? Is the E-mini is going down? Or sorry, the E-mini is recovering possibly? Look how crazy Lightning is evolving. Definitely the core is moving his butt now. I strongly believe that Neo and a few others will show the way, but we will go to the moon. But for BTC, not sure. People in Saudi Arabia lately started investing in it a lot. They pay Prime. Yeah, and my understanding was, I'd have to go back and find the story, but I read a story that said that India was legalizing it today. Yeah. And I also read a bunch of stories that made it sound like Russia was embracing it. Like, it looks to me like the market is just getting bigger. And that's what really matters.
Alligator said looks over.
Yeah. So now that they're playing the level 2 games. So let's see if we can get out here and maybe buy it a little bit lower. Oh, yep. See, Anthony knew about the Russia story too and tried to say it before I did, but the 5-second delay, I had already said it. I saw some headline about a Bitcoin ETF purge. Yeah. Well, I mean, these whales are going to try and kill everybody. Yep. And it looks like the buyers are giving up. Well, that sucks. We're doing the right thing, but we've been too cautious. Why buy high when it can go lower? Bitcoin is still 10 times compared to last year. Yeah, but the thing is how do you know when it's going to stop? I mean, like, there's literally no way to know where the bottom is. Just like there was no way to know for sure where the top was. How many people thought that it was going to go to 100,000, right? And we might have a model that says that 8K should be the bottom, but then some black swan event could come in and just screw us over anyways. Or the market could decide that it just doesn't care about the model. I don't know. We could just be wrong. It might just take off and stop at 35,000. Yeah, I mean, today could be the bottom for all we know. There's no way to know. Hmm. The market cap is 10% lower from yesterday's. Okay. So I guess that is an indication that there are still some people to get out. I'm sure that the tether is the thing. I'm sure that without the tether story, we would probably still be higher than 10,000. Yeah. Oh, you didn't have enough gas? Yeah, the Ethereum network has been frustrating. The Ethereum wallet is frustrating sometimes too. Next week you will have your answer. How so? You just think that in a week it will be long enough for it to resolve itself? Or we'll know more about the tether thing? Is that what you're saying? Touched 15. I guess another thing. I think that the equities markets going down definitely plays into it too. It's just like overall market sentiment right now is not very positive.
Fran said PMI and ISM coming up.
Oh. During the weekend, as always, we will get more FUD. So my guess is next week we will see where it will go. So maybe they'll have more information and they'll release it over the weekend and we'll see what happens. Okay, sure. This is a good a theory that we can watch. Okay, so we have a number coming up here, right? Oh yeah, PMI, that would be important. So let's check Reddit. Have we gotten the memo? I'm really excited. Oh, actually, we also have to look at Queen Foundry. Jeez. So here's the pool that I've been mining with for Monero on CPU, and I haven't found block in over a week. And I have a lot of shares now, and I would really just like to get paid. So 2 minutes to the ISM. I'm not expecting it to be too significant though. Right, so cryptos and just everything, top stories, everything. Nancy Pelosi, Americans won't be able to understand the FISA memo. Americans, Nancy, if you can understand it, we can understand it. Oh, well said. Well, it doesn't look like the memo has been released yet. Cryptocurrencies, nothing too interesting. Flippening hits 70%. Well, I tell you what, if some of the doom and gloom that I'm hearing in here today, and I do have to say I'm super skeptical, not just because I feel like you guys are all wrong or anything like that, but just because like I don't think we can time it. But if you guys are correct and we take a leg lower, even below 8,000, then the flippening is possible. Yeah, for sure. I feel like that the flippening can only happen at the bottom though. I don't think the flippening can happen at the top. You know, like it all comes down, the public loses confidence in Bitcoin, and then on the next run they say, hey, actually this time it's Ethereum, and Ethereum doesn't have the same problems as Bitcoin. It's different. And so now the public can say, okay, I can buy into that one. It's like the Facebook to MySpace. That's why I think it needs to come down first. Bitcoin, the lowest it got was 9,224 in Binance and bounced back into the 10K 500s. It was a good tick up there, by the way. ISM has passed.
Brand said level 55.1, 55.5, 54.2 to 55.5, 55.5.
In line with
history
expectations.
Of this indicator. PMI manufacturing posted a solid 0.5 increase in the January flash to 55.5 for the best reading in.
For the best reading in nearly 3 years, export sales were a highlight of the flash report, as was production, employment, and overall orders. The report's sample was trying to build inventories while traction for selling prices was the strongest in more than 4 years, both tangible signs of strength. The consensus for January's final PMI manufacturing is unchanged from the flash at 55.5, but it was all inside of expectations, so cool. Bitcoin hasn't been banned in India. Don't let them tell you otherwise. Okay. Indian FUD explained. Lightning Network passes 1,000 open channels. Is Nano replacing Bitcoin? That's Ryblocks, right? Yep, that's Ryblocks. I don't know if I like the name Nano, but whatever. Now that it's come down, maybe we could buy it again. I'll have to see. That's another one on my list. We won't be able to make deposits for like another week, so we have plenty of time to put together a list and have the animals make their choices. Yeah, 95. I mean, we are seeing in the futures a recovery that looks significantly stronger in terms of cumulative delta than past ones. I mean, that move right there was pretty bad. And then here, look, they were actually buying it before it bottomed. I don't know, guys. I think the futures traders know something we don't. If this keeps up, this is very quickly going to become tail wags the dog. Because right now it seems like the futures traders know what's going to happen before it happens. But pretty soon it's going to be when the futures trader does something, the other markets react to it. That's not what's quite happening yet, because it's like, 30 minutes later that the cash, you see it in the cash. Okay, that's a good iceberg there at 17. So I think we could see a bust through this wall that we had at 17, 18 or so. Just remember, I'm here for you. What? Moon pie. Some days you're on the moon, and other days you're the pie. Not so real sure what that means, but if you're feeling sad, we can talk about it. Stocks continue to tumble, but they're still already looking like recovery. Goldman gets bullish on Nvidia due to crypto mining exposure risk. Okay, so you know what? I tell you what. There is going to be an 11 series card this year in Nvidia, and as long as it's not more than $1,000, whatever the 1170 is, I'm getting 2 of those like day one. I am so pumped for it. And then I'm gonna dump my 1060s as quickly as possible. Oh, come on. Yeah, doesn't look like they're quite ready to bust out yet. Recovery or dead cat bounce? Yeah, it's probably more like a dead cat bounce, but it's I don't know. I don't like that last candle. For a moment there, it was starting to look more promising. Because the thing that's driving me nuts, I want to see this. You know what I mean? It should go like this. It should go right back up. That's what I want to see. I want to see a V. Have we really gotten a V? When we... is that all we get to see? Guess so. There we go. I mean, that one's better. Okay, that one was okay. That was a V. Even then, I don't even want to see it. I don't want to see that. It should be like this, and then it should be another measured move that is equal to this. It didn't do that. It was just ranging. So that's what I want to see. I want to see V, and then I want to see range and measured move up. That's equal to this. That's what I want to see. I need to find a screen tool that I can just draw on the screen with. I've looked it up before, and I know that you can like make a mask in OBS, but there's got to be like a better way of doing it than that. Why not just a vertical line instead of a V? Well, the V indicates that the people that went short all got out. Therefore indicating that it was just a temporary trade that's over. Or that whoever was getting short just got screwed over. And then the measured move up again is like a confirmation that the shorts got killed. Whereas right now, when we come up, it's kind of like the shorts are just letting us do it so that they can sell it again, you know? I mean, we see the same thing here. Like, just think about here in the Treasuries right now, I'm still long because we're getting a consolidation pattern. See this right here? We're slowly getting closer, and when we pull back, the pullbacks are getting smaller. and we're getting closer to pushing through that 18. Okay. And when we see it go, they're buying through it, right? If I saw big blue lines right here, indicating that there was a lot of pulling going on, then it would be a different story, because then it would be like, oh, the sellers really want to sell it and they're trying to trick us into buying. Right now, that's not quite what I'm seeing. In fact, if anybody's pulling, it's the buyers. You see that the buyers, for no real explainable, oh, actually we have news, and within a minute, that's what that is. Okay. What's the expectation, by the way? It is 58.7. There's a number of numbers coming out here that actually... Okay. Okay. Shouldn't have felt that through. Okay, actual 59. So it was a really good number. Construction spending 0.7 versus 0.4, a really good number. ISM manufacturing prices 72.7 versus 68.3, really good number. Wow. No, that's unfortunate. Okay. That's okay. Okay.
Trade the traders said I was short at 0.175, now look for long at 0.140. Alligator said bought 145, not sure in front of WAP Y Seth.
Alligator feels like the same. There's definitely a lot of big orders below us in ZB.
Trade the traders said buying tail.
Yeah.
Fran said yes, and the DOM numbers are not what they should be for a down move. Fran said was going to scalp but no entry. Fran said might break, who knows.
Yeah, we're gonna wait for somebody to draw a line in the sand. $14's not enough. Okay, 20 is a little better. Would have liked to have seen it a little faster. Okay, that one that they took 2 is good. I think they should tick back. We shouldn't see a whole lot offered up though when we get filled. No. Gosh dang it. Okay. Ethereum transaction not going through for 2 hours now. Have you looked at it in a block explorer? Because I had that too, and I had to cancel the transaction and add more gas to it several times. Oh, what is the time frame of my Bitcoin chart? It is every 10 orders in the futures, so it's not time-based. Each bar is 10 orders in the futures. Hmm. Okay. It's okay because we're 4 ticks away. Yeah, that's why Ethereum kind of concerns me. I mean, I'll feel better once they've put the updates through to increase their capacity, but right now it kind of feels like a lot like Bitcoin's problems.
Trade. The traders said long out +2 together +8 long 0.160 for break high because weak high see above picture ASL long as 0.155 hold.
Okay, well, if it comes down to my order at 150, I don't want any more, so. This 17 is going to be a toughie on us because there was such a big iceberg on the way down.
Alligator said Bund at highs, Blue breaking up.
I don't know. Hmm. Well, that move up sure was strong in CF. I mean, these were big bubbles here too. 6Ks and everything. And we're higher. Rising in r/cryptocurrency right now. Can everyone please just calm the fuck down? uh... Pretty much a bunch of hodl pep talking. Just hold it. Doesn't matter how bad it sounds. Germans have been calling 7.5 to 8K for a while now, so no surprise. Okay. Well, if it does get to 8K, I think it's going to take its time. Because what's going to happen, what's happening right now, just from, you know, looking at social media, talking to you guys, it kind of feels like everybody is bottom fishing, but they don't want to buy right now. Yeah.
The traders said alligator thanks for bund, I missed it out +1 ZN.
Social Observer, I think I might buy Ethereum. Is the bobble breaking up? I don't... Why is it never freaking save my... Oh. Is there... I don't
Alligator said UW.
There we go. So they made a new high, came back, a little pullback there. There we go. That's more like it. Though I am still holding cashed a little while back,
Alligator
but
said
this isn't
first
anything
time I
new.
wanted to take profits at 170 due to lack of support too. Now I don't know, ZF looks strong but I fear more steepening which could hold long end.
Yeah, we are getting some steepening today, aren't we? Okay, back to this. I'm still holding cashed a little while back, but this isn't anything new except for the competition thinks. Black stream. You said people don't want to buy right now, as I just bought Bitcoin Cash defending to Bitfinex to short. Seriously, I haven't heard people saying hodl for a long time. I don't know. It doesn't seem like they have the fuel to make really impulsive moves. They have to like let it range and come back for a little while and then push, and it might take a good 2 or 3, 4 pushes to get to 8,000. You know, even with this one, it took him. How long did it take him? If we come back on this 6-hour chart. Right. 1, 2, 3. And then on the fourth one, it really dipped. And then when we did this one, it did it. We thought that it had bottomed maybe 3 or 4 times, where it had come back, and we thought, okay, we're safe. So.
Trade the traders said bun too much long can turn to 43.
There's a spreader. Yeah, they're gonna bust right through this 18 this time.
Alligator said riding the bun so far, but I agree it looks overbought. Trade the traders.
Ugh. I still think that we're gonna get this 19.5. Now there's a machine gun buying it in 10s and 11s. Curious?
Fran said ES has to break below its val. Alligator said F175 too strong. Fran said POC is right on top of it too.
look at this. There's just tons of people just going along here. Like one lots. Those aren't robots. They're too inconsistent. Maybe they're just waiting for ZB to come along. Definitely steepening though. Steepening. I was thinking of converting my Bitcoin to Ethereum before I went to bed, but I didn't. Oh. Yeah, I mean, let's see what happens. I think that this Ethereum taking a run right now may be the most important piece of information that we have. Because the problem is that Bitcoin is still the leader, and when Bitcoin is going down, everybody in the market goes down. And yet we can see that people are making bets on Ethereum against Bitcoin. So it's kind of almost like, yes, there are people buying, but they don't want to buy Bitcoin anymore. See that right now the level 2 in the 10-year seems to be reacting more to the level 2 in the 30-year. The EMI need to take a little dive there. I don't know if they're going to get past this pivot here. That could certainly push us up though. Bond looks like it's in chop mode right now. This is where I hate trading the bond. Wow, started with 20k tell and now I'm up to 44k now just by flipping and scalping it. So, Rackley, when you scalp it, do you find the order book useful? Or are you basically just playing the edges that the robots seem to flip it at?
Fran said she's been sitting on this too long, somebody buy or sell.
Right. Is tell still worth fractions of a cent? There you go. Finally a good tick in ZB. 2 good ticks.
Alligator said back L175.
Okay, they're not offering up much. Yeah, I was just reading the conversation in the Bitcoin channel. And I mean, it's a real conundrum with the taking profits or not in Bitcoin because, yeah, if you have a 50% drop in price, and by the way, there we finally beat 18, so yay. If you have a 50% drop, like that was an opportunity to double your money there that you missed, right? But the problem is that moving your money around in Bitcoin is not necessarily so easy all the time, especially if you're in altcoins, right? And how do you move it back into dollars? Because for me, I would have to, transfer it. I would have to trade it into Bitcoin Cash and then transfer it back to GDAX and all this noise. So it's not so simple as it is when you're scalping to just get out, right? That's the problem. And that's why I think that's part of why there's so much FOMO, because there's these day traders that just push it so fast. And then you have the rest of the market that is just always flat-footed. On Datamish, scroll down to the percent long short graph. Isn't that the first one? Oh. Oh. You're talking about that right there. Shorts temporarily overcame longs and then they spread back out again. Ah. Some other comments here. It's a lot less stressful than shorting through. Growing my holdings is separate from dollar wins loss. Yeah, I see. So he's using the down opportunities and he's still buying and selling so that he's not going short, but he is increasing his holdings. Very good. Even if Lightning works out, all it does is take us back to 2 years ago when Bitcoin was working and there was a whole bunch of merchant adoptions, but still didn't get people spending it. I think that's a good point. At some point, I think we come into a wall where the number of transactions just isn't increasing. And that becomes a real problem for sure. Now, that said, trading does create some of those transactions and is good, so yeah, you know. Okay, so now we're gonna have a 5K iceberg here at 18. People with a lot of XRP should put it in a Bitfinex funding wallet. That way it still generates some income while holding. You're gonna have to explain that to me. So when you have XRP in a funding wallet, it generates more XRP or something? Well, but I don't like that bid. I exit when soon I think there is a potential dip. Well, I mean, maybe I should have gotten out yesterday because I thought that there could be a dip. Maybe I just need to get something like what Rackley's been doing and just scalp a particular instrument all day and build up a little bit of confidence on that so that I'm not as flat-footed. And then when I see something like that in the futures, maybe I'll feel more confident about just getting out of the way. Well, I did get +3 on the day so far. No, was it only +2? Yeah. And when you add up the orders, it's 5 times 3, so it's really only +1. Oh no. Oh no. Oh geez. Yeah, so Pete, you need to add something in to like bring all windows to the front. Because that was bad. Even if it goes up, don't blame yourself. Better safe than sorry. I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that one, Social Observer, because there's a very skewed risk reward in that situation. Like, yes, you did save yourself from a 20% drop, but you may have missed an opportunity of doubling your money, right? It would be different if we were up at the top. It would be a very different situation. If we're up at the top and you think that there's going to be a drop, get out. Because at that point, you're talking about maybe you will make another 10% on the next leg, but you could lose 80% of your holdings, you know? Oh, Rackley didn't had the sound moving. I asked you a question earlier. What was it? Explain the XRP thing with Bitfinex. So you're saying that if you have Ripple in a Bitfinex wallet that it generates income, what is that deposited in and how much is it? Well, it looks like Bitcoin is gearing up for another look, although they are still buying it in the futures. In fact, they've almost completely unwound from their short. And where was the short from here? I really want to see this get to negative 3, back up to 300 before I would say that it's over. Even with dips, exit with less losers and enter when it goes lower. That's why you stay up all night and stare at your screen. There you go, yes. Bitfinex has 3 wallets for each token in USD and Euro, a trading, margin, and a funding. I see. So if you put it in a funding wallet, then you are like, is that like giving your coins to somebody else to short? Okay, so with this technique, I saved myself from a 30% loss. Yes, but again, if we say that the potential profit that you miss out on is like double, then in order for that strategy to actually have edge, you would have to have a pretty significant probability of being right. Directly says exactly. Okay, so that interests me. Maybe I will make a... I don't want to be on Bitfinex, that's the thing. But maybe I should make one and put a little bit there. Yeah, control your emotions, but I'm just saying, social observer, I need to see the math work out to where you can say, here's how much you're risking, here's how much you have to gain, and here is the probability of the thing happening. And if I do that 1,000 times, it will bear out that it's always better to just get rid of it. And I don't think that that's necessarily true at the bottom when we're only talking about a 20 to 30% dip. At the top, it's a different situation. Bitfinex still needs an invitation code. So in this case, I think instead of just like getting rid of it, I kind of like a lot of these other ideas that guys are sharing. Like, okay, you can put it in a funding wallet so that you can still gain interest off of it. You can move into Ethereum. You can ladder. Maybe there's some hedging. What we really need is options. But what you gonna do? Somebody needs that. I really want options for the futures to come. When options for the futures come, because you won't have to put up nearly as much margin for the options. And maybe they make a mini. I'm hoping that they make a mini Bitcoin at some point, and then there can be options on those, and then we can really use that to hedge ourselves. Happened to me once. I sold and slept, woke in 2 hours, and the Queen was up 150%. Felt bad, yes, but at least, well, I agree that it's good to protect your capital, but I think you still have to do the math on what the expectancy of that strategy is. Because if you're too cautious, you know, that can screw you over. Like we were earlier today, right? Because I had some longs at 14.5, 15. I only took a tick on them. I could have gotten 12 ticks today. I got 2. 1 when you count commissions. Well, that's a big number right there. What's the deal with that? They pivoting again at 16. 16.5. It might take another move down and bounce off the VWAP again, or possibly test the other side. I don't like the look that the 5 year has given me. Ooh, if you are a margin trader and there is a fork, you also owe the forked token to the lender. Really? Oh. But that really makes sense. An additional factor as to why the forks pushed the price up so much, because when there was a fork, nobody was going to short it. Not with a margin. You went all in on Neo and you're up 30%. Wow. Good job. I mean, I on one hand, I want to say like, yeah, but what are the chances that you're going to pick the right one? But on the other hand, it does seem to me that there is some edge as to knowing which one is going to become the safe haven. And it's worth, I mean, that's why it's worth spreading your coins out. Because for me, not necessarily a safe haven, but Garlic coin is so new, and I knew that I was going to be able to accumulate a lot of it before it would become fairly priced. And it's actually still okay in terms of how much you can mine and what you can get for it and everything like that. And so that was kind of my edge, right? I don't think that it would be as good as having gone into Neo or Ethereum. It's the pre-alt party cycle, so I made that big bet. Yeah, Garlic coin. It's 1C for the website. I think the website is garliccoin.io. Yeah. Well, we did get it tick up and it ticked down, but that 5K at 160 looks pretty solid. Yeah, and I think it's worth like 150. Let's look. So you can only trade it on Trade Satoshi right now. Okay, so it's still 150. So at the moment, I make about 10 coins a day. Well, with one card, it's 5. 5 cards a day, 5 coins a day times 150, $7.50. And most other coins I can make 4 to 5. So it's actually probably still a little overvalued. But that just means that the difficulty isn't as high as it should be. And it's going to attract more miners. Yeah. But I'm making 10. So I'm basically making $15 a day on that. And when I look at my overall portfolio and how much I'm losing on these other ones, I'm losing between 15 and 30 a day on these other ones. Let's see. Right now, today, my portfolio is down 21. So really, the Sia coin is the one that's really killing me, which doesn't bother me too much because that's the one that I actually believe in. And I might, with my next set of investments, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do half of it KU coin and half of it Sia coin. It has been my thought. Is I want to get back the 1,500 or the 1,000 or so that I sold. My income dropped by 40% on nice hash with current prices. Oof. Usually, I usually run away and watch. Well, that's the thing. So, Social Observer, you have seen my chart, right? Because that's where it's kind of like down here. If you, I feel like if you haven't already sold, then you kind of already screwed. But back when we were up at the top, up in the 1300s, before we hit the top, it was, my thing was telling to sell. You could have gotten just completely out. That's the way to play it. The question now is just how do you scale in, really? Because I've scaled in at 10K. It took a step lower.
BTC, we're almost at the January 16th to 17th lows. Yikes.
Should I be jumping out and trying to break even and then get back in the next step lower? And like, how many times can it do that? Because right now it seems like the problem with the indicator is it's early. It tends to signal an imminent move, but it could still take a month and a half for it to happen. And we've been saying we're at 50. It's only been 2 weeks. So I'm not quite sure what the right way to do it is, other than just buy it and say it's okay if it takes a 20% dive and just buy more next month. And then if it really keeps going, then I'm wrong. Oh well. Wasn't that much money. The risk reward is still worth it. Yeah, I think so. So lose half or double your money, I think that's fair. So here we are at 9 o'clock. I don't know if we're going to get another move today. There's just too much steepening here. ECH just made a bit of a flag instead of going down along with Bitcoin on the 15-minute chart.
Quantatron said, and I'm still seeing a positive slope on margin side, looks like a build up, but resolving where?
Why aren't we already past the January 16th to 17th lows? Or are you talking about like a long time ago? No. Trade the traders shorted ZN at 17.5 and made a bit.
Alligator said, I think AAPL is a big stock for NQ, supposed to drive it, but not sure there's a relationship here.
Trade the traders thinks that the next buy spot, what the heck? All of a sudden I don't sound the same. That's weird. He thinks that the next long is at 13.5 based on the profile. Is that based on previous days? You know, I had this really great profile and I got rid of it and I need to bring it back. Got rid of it because I thought that that's what was crashing me, and I'm pretty sure that it's not. So let's set that up.
Trade the traders said at 0.135 was my TP, should not be worried face.
Well, there it went to fifth deck to the VWAP. What was the name of the indicator? I got it off of Futures IO. I It's going to be up here at the top. Was it the CAM's volume profile? It'll take it a bit. It was
Fran said yes, you might
expensive.
be right. Was something about Alphabet and Apple and their ratios. Fran said I don't follow stocks.
Oh, you know what? Actually, idea. Since I don't know if I want to take any more trades, to be honest. I don't want to take shorts. So we're going to let it go back to that 13.5. And if it reverses there like Trade the Trader says, then maybe we might take it long for 2 ticks or something. Okay. Let's close Ninja Trader. And download the new beta version. Oh.
Alligator said trade the traders. I think 130 is some kind of lower band support for chartists, should support it.
Yeah, let's get this version 12. Oops. Okay. Okay. Pin.
Alligator said Fran not following them, but read that iPhone X sales were disappointing. Samsung reported poor sales, old screens, a few days ago.
I think the iPhone X was just too expensive. Yeah. I can't. I've always hated Apple stuff. My wife will come to me, my Apple device isn't working, and I'm like, don't buy Apple things then, and I'll be able to fix them for you. That's why Bitcoin Cash broke trend and made flag. Ethereum is now going down. Let's see. Okay, so Social Observer is saying I will scale once we go lower than 9,000. If we're done correcting and it is confirmed, I will enter even if the prices are higher. Yes, so he's saying wait for it to confirm that it's going up. That was kind of had been my thought too, because I'm not sure if we're going to go to 9 or to 8. If so, I bought Bitcoin Cash at exactly the right moment. So you think that they're dumping out of Ethereum and moving into Bitcoin Cash?
Brand said TKS.
Monster says, I think it's people trying to exit crypto. Yeah, people trying to move into Bitcoin Cash is not necessarily a good thing because they may just be doing it to move their coins over to Coinbase so they can cash out. Okay. So, entonces, indicators. Do we get like a real volume profile one now? Volume zones, volume profile.
The traders said alligator, everything is possible. Roar me, it counts the now moment when the price is there.
Let's read the release notes. Okay. Added order flow depth map. Okay. So they are called order flow. Oh yes. Oh yes. Order flow trade detector, depth map, cumulative delta, parabolic SAR. Okay. So does that not give us a better okay, so this features in preview / beta. Oh, added a bar type of volumetric bars. Okay, so let's try that first. So, what am I looking for here? Bar style volumetric. Chart style type, bid ask, or delta. Okay, so let's. Oh, boo. Okay, so I can't actually use it. Damn. They really want me to buy NinjaTrader 8 for $900, don't they? Okay, we'll just use the cams then. Yeah, just a thought, it's only on the 15-minute chart so far. You barely see it on the 1 hour chart. Hi, Marius. By the way, Ethereum USD 6 hour on Moku Cloud have been a strong cloud for 2 weeks. Too bad I don't understand the Ishimoku Cloud thing. Okay. Yes, good, good. Like, okay, so he was saying 13.5. So what's special about 13.5? Okay, there is a drop off in the profile there. Okay. I really thought we were going to get to 19 halves, guys. Like this low point in the profile right here. I don't know. So will it probably won't even let me add the order flow cumulative delta, will it? Nope. Oh no, wait, is it just calculating it? Probably shouldn't have added it to that chart. Let's look here. This feature requires a lifetime license. Yeah, they all do. All of them do. I think that if they require a lifetime license for it, that it's not going to help them very much. Could be wrong, but I think that there's a lot of people that are just using it from their broker and stuff, and I don't think that it's worth paying $900 so that you can get the order flow tools when a lot of the shit that they've written are things that I can write in 5 minutes. Oh, Social Observer has to go.
Trade the traders said alligator for you.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Watch out here.
He's got some, you really, Trade the Traders, you've got some pretty good insight into the volume profile for sure that I don't think anybody else in our channel yet has. So we're all order flow scalpers for the most part. And then when you bring in these market and volume profile charts and point out the spots, and it doesn't always work, and there was that one where I was like, I'm pretty sure it's gonna go up, and you're like, no, I'm going short, and it was like a trend. But that doesn't mean that they're not really, really useful. You combine the two together, it can be very powerful. So I really appreciate charts like that. Most people can't write these tools themselves. Yeah, but I can put it on Futures.io for free. Like, okay, so like the one that they've got that's supposed to be like the Vista chart. Okay, that's worth money. The one that shows like large orders like on the chart, that's useful. A volumetric bar, I forget how that looks and if it's as good as the volume profile. I think that one is worth some money, but not a ton, because there's a lot of people out there offering similar things for money. You know, here's the cams. It's not great, but it works. Okay. But like VWAP, cumulative delta, those aren't worth jack. Those aren't worth jack because it's like 2 lines. I took a Dalvik course and I still can't parse cloud data. Yeah, these ones, I'll show you just as an example. Okay. Like, let's do an even easier one. Cumulative delta. Okay. Every time that
the traders said Seth market profile is not a trading system but a market generated information and a decision supportive system along with your existing trading systems.
Yeah.
It provides you
knowledge about who is in control of the market, long-term players, short-term players, day traders, directional conviction. Market profile gives an idea to a day trader about where to take a trade, in which trend to play for the day based on trend or conviction. Yeah, exactly. And and the thing that I think people in our channel find the most useful is the knowing the extremes in the profile to be able to say, hey, there's a good chance that it's going to reverse here at 180 versus 195. So can we see that? Let's see where is the support for that. So we got up to 180 and it stopped. And I think it stopped there because there was a big drop off in volume between 18 and 17 halves. That's why you said take it off there, right? See, and that's not something that I've ever noticed before. I would have said, oh, I think it's going to go to the previous day's point of control. And so that's why I held it. And we've always had problems, getting out too early or too late or whatever, because we didn't really know what the important number was.
Alligator said Jim Dalton, get out of that body, smiling face with open mouth.
I guess it's also a good indicator. Like that one time that you were wrong, it was kind of like, oh, well, the market doesn't care what the, oh yeah, so we're showing this. The market doesn't care what the volume profile says. It's just doing its thing. And so when it's wrong, it's like really, really wrong. And so you can kind of add on to it. Anyway, so here's what we're saying. I have a number, it's current cumulative delta. Every time we add ask volume, I add to the cumulative delta. Every time we add bid volume, I subtract from it. And then down here in the on bar update, this is all just nonsense to when it to reset it on the right day that you probably wouldn't need if you were making your own. Okay, on market data, when I get data coming in, check to see what type of data it is. And if it's if it's some volume, then we check to see if the price is greater than the ask.
One thing I don't get is how markets like UB.
Oh, how can they be so correlated if 99.5% of the volume is intraday trades? I'll get into that in a second. Anyways, so if the price is greater than the ask, then we know that it's buying, and if the price is less than the bid, then we know that it's bid volume, and we just call the methods, and that's it. And I did it like super fancy. You could have just said in this cumulative delta +1 right here, right? It's simple code. It's not worth money. It's not worth $900. Anyways, so how can they be so correlated if 95% of the volume is intraday trades? Well, I think that one, just because the volume is an intraday trade doesn't mean that that volume isn't from a big player with market, with actual inventory, right? So he might be saying, okay, I have, thousands of bonds and I know that we're going to go down. So I'm going to short the bonds here. And then when the move is over, I'm going to get out. So it's still an intraday trade, but it was a big player. And those big players still dominate the price. Ergo, the correlations and spreads and so forth that are supposed to be maintained stay in. And because those players are so influential, nobody wants to play against them. So everybody else that's a, local plays that same game, essentially. Hence why we all knew that today would tend to be a buying day. But of course, we also knew that there's a lot of downward pressure, so we shouldn't push it too much. That's why, like when it came back to the VWAP, I was like, okay, we can take it again. I just wish that I had timed my entries on these earlier wins better. But it happens. Could have gotten 2 or 3 out of these and had a good day, but still green. Let me check in here. For other data, I have Sludge on Seth's Discord to keep me updated. Yeah, Sludge in our Discord is a smart cookie. He has pointed out numerous things to us that were invaluable.
Rivo said below, can you pack up your claim with stats that 95% of the volume is intraday trades?
So I don't know if Rivo is listening, but if you look at the open interest compared to the overall volume, the vast majority of the orders out there are closed out before the end of the day. Yeah. Oh yeah, so that was the question I asked you earlier, is how much do you use the order flow when you've been scalping to like double your positions? Because I kind of question if in some of those lighter instruments if it's that useful. Or are you just kind of playing the extremes of the range? You know that Bitcoin just had a move down. I just play the mean reversion. Ishimoku. Hey, Bitcoin guys sure like your Ishimoku. I still haven't been bothered to go look at it. Well, the ZB is taking a dive. Two more minutes and then we're going to stop, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. How are these majority players controlling the price of a product when the majority has no interest in receiving the goods? Yeah, I mean, how does that give an accurate value to the product being traded when they're just in it for the tick profits? Well, so that one I think is a slightly different question, because, like, just think about with the Bitcoin futures, right? Because those are cash settled, so nobody is in those to really hedge. Those guys are almost all looking to make money. So how do they do that? Well, it's cash settled based off of an index. In a non-cash settled future, there is still the, it's going to close for a certain price at this thing, and so even though a very small number of people actually carry it out to when they get called and actually deliver treasuries, right? Even though a very small percentage of those happen, just the fact that that's going to happen at the very end still has a significant influence on price. And you can see that there are bonds do have these moves that are just kind of temporary intraday moves. And then when you get towards the end, they start pushing it towards where all of those people that are holding it for good are taking it to, like what we saw yesterday with the options, right? That whole move at the end of the session was because the options traders needed it to go to a certain direction, place for their trades to be profitable. But who makes it go up? Well, I think it's just, I mean, it is the locals. It's just that the locals know that they can't fight the larger players for very long. Like, if I'm a local, we could all get together and we could say, I know that the institutions are selling the bonds, but let's just, for just today, let's all buy it. That would be illegal. But let's just say that we did that, right? Well, it would go up for a day, and then we would all sell at the end of the day, and it would go right back to where it was, right? So ultimately, trying to go against the larger players that control the higher time frame movement is ultimately pointless. So as a local, you might as well try and do exactly what they're doing. Ergo, even though the vast majority of participants are not long-term players, they, over the long term, tend to do exactly what the long-term players are doing, rather. Not would be, are doing. That's where it's just like, it doesn't necessarily matter what time frame person they are. Their interests are all aligned. Okay, well, it is time for me to go. I don't really see anything else. Oh, so the way I play tell is set buy and sell orders around the current price at every tick, and I remove/add more according to the direction of the order flow. Okay, so you are doing like true market making. I should try that. I don't know what I want to try it in, but I want to try that. Okay, well, I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good day.